went really quickly.
He's a nice guy, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to answer this question
What made
in this lesson. And we're going to think about all the different elements. We're going to watch some examples. And we're going to reflect on our prior knowledge and everything from Unit 2. And think about what makes a good play. We're going to start by making some... Right, so some listomanias. No, I'm not going to put you... the sheets that I put there for Unit 3, just put to one side. I'm not going to ask you to work in your performance groups. I'm going to just slide you down to there. So those guys go over to that big piece of paper over there. You guys go over to that big piece of paper over there. What makes a good play? What makes a good play? Questions, answers, go on.
Good dialogue, good character development, thought-provoking, relevant, and good direction.
What do you mean direction?
In terms of how the characters move and speak, and in terms of how the director directs them.
Okay, so the physicalising the play.
Yeah.
Okay.
The visual sense of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I agree with all the first four. I think the fifth is kind of open to interpretation, down to what you as individuals like and appreciate and want. And I think that's more looking towards a production value.
Yeah.
That says, well, that's looking at it in terms of a product that we're watching, as opposed to something that makes an interesting play. I've watched lots of different Henry IV, and some of them have been rubbish.
Yeah.
And I think the one we went to see was really good. So I think that certainly I agree with dialogue, characterization, the depth of that character, and the fact that you could probably take that character right back to their birth and understand them. What else did you say?
Relevance.
Relevance to...
specific target audience.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a fourth one.
Yeah, thought-provoking.
Something that's thought-provoking. Wow, Connor, on fire.
I said thought-provoking.
He did actually say thought-provoking.
Right, on fire, feeding back for his group. Anything else that actually you want to add to that? Can't argue with any of those.
Like 5 or just all of them?
Just all of them in general at the moment.
Dramatic irony, good characters, got to be relatable with the audience members to create a bond, need to be gripping by a climax and anti-climax, a good plot, relatability, interesting, like extreme opposites, like dark and humour, revealing throughout, contrast of characters, honesty and truthfulness to like the genre and context. Unique and an emotional journey for the audience.
Okay, all right. There's a couple of things I want you to just expand on. Firstly, we all know what dramatic irony is. Tom? Yeah. It is.
It is. Oh, I do actually know this. When the characters don't listen from stage, but you do.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it works very well in some plays. Some plays it's not very good. All right. So that's quite good. Explain good plot. Good is an adjective. So what makes it good? Or anyone can answer that. Tom first.
Is there something that's relevant and engaging to your target audience?
Okay, that's content though, isn't it? That's what the plot is about. Maybe there's some definitions there, isn't there? There's plot and then there's content. The content is what the play is about. The plot is the way that you tell the story. So what makes a plot good? We know what content's good, but...
You have a protagonist who faces a problem and then through a series of events resolves the problem.
That is plot.
Yeah.
That is a definition of plot. So what makes that good? I suppose it's
well, for starters, I guess it's the audience want the resolution of the problem.
Yep.
And so therefore when it happens it's quite a, sort of a relief and it's a good thing.
Yep, so you've got to establish that desire on the audience's part. So that is making them empathise with it, or get involved in the story. It doesn't always have to, though, resolve in the way that you expect it to, or anticipate it to. That's where we get sometimes the anticlimax, where it doesn't actually resolve itself, or it's led for you to think about it, or at any point like that. So yeah, okay. There was something else. You mean revealing thought or reading throughout? I thought you said revealing throughout.
I just got it out.
Okay. So what do you mean by revealing throughout?
So like different events happen, like a cat. I don't know, like Jemima in hers, for example, when she became someone who just couldn't think of a memory rather than being the actual like.
Yes. So messing with expectations.
Yeah. So that was revealed throughout it. So it was a surprise.
Yes.
Which makes it interesting.
Yes. Yes. Well, the opposite way of doing that is to show very early on how the ending is going to be, kind of thing, and then, but not making it really obvious, so that people go, oh, that, yeah, of course that happened. So you get to that kind of.
Yeah.
Honest, truthful. Jemima, explain that. You were talking to your group about that from a personal experience that you have.
Oh, yeah, because my example was, when my last play, I was in a Victorian asylum for the scene, and what my director said to me is for it to work, it had to be bitterly honest in writing, and you as an actor to portray it in a truthful way so the audience could relate to it more. Because when we were doing it, it felt horrible to do, but that was the reaction that she wanted, because because she'd done research and stuff, because the more honesty is in there, the more naturally you perform it, so the better it is.
Absolutely. Very hard to achieve. Very scary to achieve, to be that honest. Yeah. If you want to do something that naturalistic. Very hard to achieve, but very fulfilling when you do. And just finally, the emotional journey.
Like, the audience has to really care about the character, and so when stuff's happening, it's not just happy all the time, it's not just sad all the time, it's like the audience have got to feel what the character's feeling and feel all the different things that they go through.
Okay, cool. What about Holes and 100? What made them good plays? What made them... I'm just going to close the door, so they're playing like mad music.
Kind of went against expectation, where sort of you get the sort of castaway situation, where everything's a bit more, it's less taboo and it's less controversial, and they were sort of addressing the problems with that and how in reality it would be about as worse as that.
Yes. The thing about Holes is that it gave you a punch from the word go, didn't it? There was no gentle intro into it. A gentler way into it would have been to show the plane to begin with, or everyone getting onto the plane. So you see that contrast of what real life was like and then life on the plane. But it was quite harsh. It threw you straight into the island and straight into what things were going to be. Anything else about Holes, whilst we're talking about Holes, that made that a good play?
I put about the black comedy being quite relatable to the audience, because it makes... It not only is funny for the audience so they enjoy watching it, but it makes them think not only about the characters but about themselves as well. Because like, if you're laughing at something and you know it's not meant to be funny, it makes you think about you as a person.
It's very true. The BBC, some of their comedies have that down pat. They really, you just have that, you laugh at it and you go, oh. And you get that realisation moment and you go, I really shouldn't be laughing at that. And you learn from that process. So that's very true. Anything else about Holes? Or 100 that was good?
So they addressed certain themes present throughout human life, according to Connor. No, but they did like them, especially Holes like brought up rape and stuff like that, friendship. It did address quite a few. And same with 100, like you were looking at death, and people do think about death, but it's not something that's really talked about much because everyone's almost scared of it. So it's we put thought-provoking games. They were both quite thought-provoking because of that, because they brought up subjects that maybe you normally wouldn't talk about.
Yes. Just off on a side point, one of the biggest problems in England, I was reading a bit of research the other day, I was on the BBC website, is that people don't have wills. Most people don't have a will. So, and most people die in accidents. So their death is unexpected. So because death is not talked about within the family much, or what you want to happen, then there becomes a massive problem, because when an accident happens and that person dies, they don't know what their wishes were. It's a kind of interesting thing. That's a consequence of that.
Did you say if it addresses things that aren't talked about, so like death, so if something's not really allowed to be talked about, like it's kind of taboo and people don't really want to, like they can't really express themselves about it, like in everyday life, like when they see something that's addressing it and about it, it's sort of more, I don't know, gripping for them because they can think about it.
Yes, yeah, it opens up that conversation. Even if it's just internal, even if it's just think, oh, okay, well, yes, and when I get home I must write at least something down and give it to someone. The other thing, is, I was on the same piece of research, is passwords. You know all your passwords, but no one else knows your passwords because they're passwords. But passwords, things like Facebook and Twitter. But there's cases where young people have passed away in accidents, and their parents have been able to get into Facebook because they don't know the passwords. And I think that's really sad. You can't do that. So it says, write down your passwords, put them somewhere safe. Tell people that your loved ones where they are, so that if an accident did happen, you can have those there. Useful things to think about. All right, so we've got a list of top 5, but we've kind of talked to death about it. So, that's really bad. I'm so sorry. We've talked quite a long time about it, so we're going to move on. So we're thinking about overall what makes a good play. I want to think about plot, right? Understanding how a play works is key to creating a play. Connor knows a lot about this. Connor studies English, and this is where we start to get some crossovers into English, which is quite useful. And I want you to think about what kind of things do we need to actually understand. That's a big question. I'm not going to ask you to answer it. I want you to think about it whilst we watch this video. In what context would that work, and in what context would that not work? It doesn't have to be Laura that answers it.
Horror-based thing, where it's sort of like